So how are we fading in now? Besides, hey everybody, welcome back to Strange Deer after a week-long hiatus that was really not planned at all. Uh, it's Kay.
It's Juliana over here
We
in
did,
bed.
and
Juliana's cozy tonight.
we did not mean to run away from you for a week. We just wound up realizing that production week for 1776, on top of getting an episode out, was not going to happen.
Usually Kay and I stagger our tech weeks, but
Not this time.
unfortunately we're in tech week together.
It, it's the paradox of proximity, Juliana, which actually, again, me being way too on the nose here, how we don't have a lot of writings between John and Abigail when they were together because they were together. All of the time they spent apart is why we have all their letters. So apparently you and I need to be apart to have episodes happen. Is that?
I know we had every opportunity, but it was exhausting.
No, well, yeah. I mean, we would have just had to have, found more hours in the day. But the show went really well. Like, if you're watching this podcast, listening to this podcast, and you came to the show, thank you so much. Particularly, like our Friday night audience and our not that I didn't love you all, whatever night you came to, but like our Friday night audience and our Sunday audiences were like, can I bottle this and keep this energy for like when I really need a pick me up, a pick me up.
Well, they were also totally packed. I think that's very
Oh,
helpful
yeah, but like,
to actors to have a full audience.
oh yeah, but also like I guess my biggest thing was that feeling you just got the audience that's like right there and they're
Yeah,
immediate responding. Like you
yeah,
can be
yeah. And
packed.
you can be more nuanced because you feel like they're paying attention. So, for me personally, I feel like I can make things a little bit smaller and make the audience feel a tiny bit more special for catching things
Right. No.
instead of like putting it in their face.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because you can also be packed and be
Like,
dead.
that to me.
I've played to flat full houses before, where it was just like, it's Saturday night, and we've had a few wines before we came to the theater, and now we're going to sleep. Like,
Yeah.
so I could not say enough about how wonderful our audiences were, and now we have one more engagement of the wacky colonial America traveling salvation show, March 1st through 3rd. Juliana, we need to post a couple of those lovely pictures, like the production stills,
We
particularly you giving me piercing glares while I'm hanging out in my awesome writer's chair.
We absolutely should. And if you follow us on Instagram, I apologize. I need to my Instagram is having a hard time on the phone. I've been so busy, I haven't even had time to reinstall Instagram. So we have gone completely off the grid.
Everything, yeah. This is not a statement about our feeling about technology, although I do kind of want to strangle my particular technology setup right now. But that's another time for a behind the curtain segment. The good news is we are recording and we have an episode and we're back on our tracks. And tonight we're kind of going to talk about things sort of related to how things have gone the past 2 weeks for us, because actually, let's be clear, Juliana, we just went through the tech for 1776 and 4 performances, and just the week before that, you were wrapping up Masterclass, so it's just been kind of wall to wall, particularly for you. So
Yeah.
we both have segments kind of related to when you're actively in performance and a little harried and whatever that may be, and words of wisdom and all of those kind of things. But first,
Jefferson, say something.
it's so funny because that line became our favorite thing every single night. And then so my search bar on Google that was saying say something, all I could hear was your voice, Juliana.
It was my favorite thing to say to you, for sure.
Well, I'm going to say something to you. I'm going to say a question to you, ask you a question.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I decided to shape my segment by talking about, that post-show funk that I think everybody sort of feels in one way or another.
Yes.
When it's like the morning after the show has closed or the days lingering afterwards, we're all happy to get our sleep again, but there is sort of a separation feeling. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten it a lot through over the years. In particular, maybe the last time was doing the Scarlet Pimpernel.
Ah,
That was it was a very long production period. We had a very long rehearsal period. And in the rehearsal period, we got very close. And also my acting style had evolved a bit. I felt like I was becoming a significantly better actor. I was reaching more depths,
Right.
levels in my acting. And also it was we've talked about this before in auditions. It was an audition that I worked really hard for and I really wanted.
Right.
I wanted the audition so badly. And at callbacks I was like, oh God, I hope I get it. Like I didn't want to hope too much, and I had a huge schedule conflict. I didn't know even if they liked me, if they were going to cast me because of the conflict I had in my schedule. I was doing opera at the time, and I was doing one of my last operas, overlapping with that, and I was in a play down in Edison. So I didn't know that I didn't think they were going to cast me for many, many reasons. And so when they did, it was like I treasured every second of that. And I just got really close to the people in the show. I'm not a dancer, but I tried to dance in the show. It was like I worked really hard.
Would you put more weight on what if I forced you to choose between what you missed? Was it like the show itself, the people that you worked with?
I really liked the role.
Yeah, I was
The
gonna
role
say.
had a lot of places for me to go at every performance.
Mm-hmm.
It was exciting. It's a kind of big show, and it's period and costumey, so it felt good sitting in this giant dressing room with all of these really amazing, talented, hilarious people.
Yeah.
It was a good moment for me.
Yeah.
Interestingly, like when I was doing opera, I didn't have a lot of those.
Okay.
And I think that was another reason it concreted in my mind.
Yeah.
That I prefer straight plays and musical theater,
Mm-hmm.
maybe to opera, because it was almost a relief.
Yeah, I've been calling back through my brain of experiences in specific shows, like, because it's been straight musical theater for me all the way through, and I think
straight musical theater.
Look, I made a bastard genre. It may exist. Well, how about non-stop musical theater with the occasional play dropped in there, but non-stop musical theater, oftentimes shows on top of one another, ooh la la. And not to say that when I've been doing shows on top of shows, I, universally don't have, like, the speed, it's not because I'm doing them on top of each other that there was an impression there, but I feel like shows where I've lived in it a little more, like you were saying, it was a longer rehearsal process. Yeah. I think it's just sort of natural. You kind of get hooked into that a little bit, and you kind of you get attached to the people.
And then too, like when I did Venus and Fur, it was a very short run, very short rehearsal period. So it was like 2 weeks rehearsal, 2-week run, and they were done. So the feeling there was like no closure, because I felt like we had so many more places to go. Like I had so many more performances in me. Sean felt the exact same way. It was just kind of like, I can't. There's like no way this can be the end of.
That's like the polar opposite. Yeah, like that. Because I think we both could also speak to, there are shows we've done in the past that we would do again in a heartbeat, that we could do forever, that we could, there would almost not be enough of that.
Yeah.
So what do you do turning this? What do you do to combat that feeling? How do you rehab yourself a little bit?
It's crazy. The last few shows have been back to back. Like I closed Masterclass Sunday matinee, went to the cast party, left immediately to go to Monday.
Tech Monday.
For 1776.
Yeah.
We closed that following Sunday a couple days ago. Went to the cast party and left immediately to come back. So some of it is having a next project to focus on. And then also staying in touch. That's so important in our industry, period.
Totally.
Right? But I think, we certainly get closer to our coworkers in a different way than most like office jobs. Because there is a huge level of vulnerability, and you're sharing dressing rooms and makeup chats,
and moments, on-stage moments too,
and moments in the woods even.
Thank you, mullets in the woods, if you will. Yes, Jess, I threw that out there for you, lovey.
But it's important that we stay in touch anyway.
Oh,
right?
no.
Because this business is so...
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're absolutely right about having another project lined up. I actually, before I came in to record here, I decided to go back and watch the early 90s, late 80s Into the Woods for American Playhouse, like the original Broadway cast that was recorded, because Into the Woods is my next project.
It's so great.
It's so great, like that little snapshot of time. And that was an interesting case because they reunited that cast, which had already left the production, a lot of them, a couple years after, to kind of, catch that original cast energy again. So, yeah,
Cool.
Starting to lightly venture into what my next project's going to be certainly helps. And I think what's also helpful a little bit with 1776 is I know I'm going to see you guys again in a few months.
Yeah, it's a soft close.
It's a soft close.
Because
I think the last super separation I felt from a show, and this is no dig against anybody else, but it does go back to A New Brain, because I felt like that cast was really tight, and like there are a couple people I haven't seen.
Ensemble cast in every sense of the word.
Correct, absolutely. Everybody had their moment in that show. I mean, I just felt like that was really tight. We bonded in front of and behind the scenes. I mean, and then I've got other little rituals that I do. If it is a show, unlike 1776, that I'll be coming back to, or, if I don't have another project going, what are the things that I do to kind of wrap it up? I'm a very kind of tactile type person, so I will do things like, I have like a little, I wrap up my script and I'll put it in its little file. I've got like a file drawer of my old scripts. If I've got the playbill, I put it with it. If I've got a copy of the poster, I put it with that.
You're really good at like posters and pictures, photographs, like shadow box type mementos.
Yeah. I'm a person who loves stuff. That's actually, I'm going to call her back into the room for a minute, my theater mentor, Debbie, who died a little over a year ago. One of the things her kids always complained about was all the junk that she carried around in boxes. Mom, what is all this stuff? And she was like, it's memories. And like, that was their one thing when they were cleaning out her house after she died. They gave us a lot of her stuff that, mementos from shows, and because I knew Deb was so tactile, I'd do things like, we had a joke going for a while, I would always wind up knitting on stage in her shows for whatever reason.
I didn't know that.
Like 4 shows running, I was knitting, or I would actually even, I think for the 4th one, in fairness, I worked knitting in just because it was our in-joke by then. She was like, you need to have stage business right now. And I didn't tell her what I was doing initially, but then she caught me in the corner knitting, and she was like, really? But what I did is I cast off that little knitting square that I wound up creating, and I gave it to her when I graduated high school. So, like, I'm very tactile with those things. It actually made me smile because Vivian, your Abigail, was finishing off her knitting from our first 3 productions, and she's going to start a new one for March.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I guess I've got little ceremonies, I guess, or whatever you want to call them, that I do that kind of helps in a very physical way, be like, and that's done and on to the next. And those are kind of things that help me. I just thought of all the parts of the process we've talked about, I think it's fair to put a little bit of light on that. It's totally human to have that connection, and how do you work through the post-show or what you're feeling. So, yeah. Our channel, Strange Deer puts out a new theater-centric podcast every week, and we also put out little bonuses throughout the week, don't we, Juliana? Sometimes when we reinstall Instagram and make sure we're posting things. So if you don't follow us already, go ahead, and you might see a little box down below that's subscribe. We'd love for you to do that so you can be alerted the moment our new content drops. Or you can follow us on various social media platforms at, what's our handle, Juliana?
At Strange Deer.
On Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Tumblr, on Pinterest. Tumblr, for some reason we always forget Tumblr. But Tumblr, in fact, is a place we are as well. We tumble. For you. I just brought Boy George into the room.
Are we back?
I think we're back and front. My back is actually really sweaty, she said in the spirit of oversharing. But that's not what this segment's going to be about at all while I air myself out. What's your segment about, Julie?
Man, we gotta enjoy it while we've got it.
It just decided to turn back into hardcore summer for a little bit longer, near 100 degrees today, because why not? But anyway, enough about me and the heat and such.
So, our next segment, we wanted to talk about advice that has come in handy in these very, very busy production weeks.
Crazy weeks. Yes.
Yes. Insane weeks. So do you want to just go back and forth?
Sure. Let's do it.
I have a small three.
Yes.
Because I always work in threes. All right.
She stopped.
The number one piece of advice that has come in handy this week, and it comes in handy on a lot of weeks. It's like my all-time favorite thing somebody said to me, was a teacher when I was in college, and I was supremely overwhelmed. I was a double major in
You are a smarty pants.
Music. Well, they didn't have musical theater, so I had opera and plays, and they didn't have anything to do with each other. So I was in a play and in an opera, and I was trying to graduate in 4 years.
Oy.
And had a ton of classes. I was very overwhelmed and freaking out, and
constantly doing 19 things. I remember college. Yes.
Yeah, I was falling apart.
Yep.
And she wasn't even she taught seniors. She was a theater teacher. She taught theater. She taught seniors, so she wasn't even my teacher, but she was like one of like the head teachers. And she asked how I was doing.
Yeah. Oh boy. Typically, one asks that when they know the answer already. But yes, go.
I burst into tears.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she, was picking up what I was putting down and gave me this advice. And of course, this is not verbatim. This is just, over the years. It's basically this. Don't think about the 100 things to do on your to-do list and, that you're only on the fourth thing out of 25 items, events of your day. And yes, you have 5 rehearsals in one day. But she said, whatever you're doing, give 100% to that. Oh, that's right. I was like, I don't know how to prioritize. I really don't, because I have to write my platform here. I have to write my senior recital here. I was like, my biggest thing was I don't even know what my priorities are, so I can't prioritize my schedule. So she said, just do, everything is 100%. Right. Just get through the next couple weeks and do everything at 100%. And if you have 15 minutes to work, because for speech we have to write a one-woman show or a one-man show, you have 15 minutes to write the show, then just give 100% during that 15 minutes, and then go to your opera rehearsal and give 100% there, and and not worry about it. That advice has gotten me through so many sticky situations, and I'm learning, and this kind of overlaps with another thing that came in handy, is just the idea of like hell yes or no.
Right.
And that advice isn't always applicable in all of life. Like I would never say that to my teenage kids, right?
Right.
Sometimes you just have to do stuff. But as grown-ups, and when we have a ton of stuff going on, as you know, we have to pull out of things, as what we've talked about. And so knowing that I couldn't give 100% to 2 things that were going on at the same time, I needed to let go of one of those.
Oh, and we talked about that a lot.
We talked about this. I came to you for advice on that, and you gave me good advice, and you were also a very good listener, good person for me to talk to about that, because you completely understood what that feeling.
Oh boy, do I! Yeah. So
yeah, giving 100% to the projects that are necessary, and the hell yes projects, and. What about you? Anything come to mind?
Well, as I was thinking about how I took care of myself during the week, I sort of an annoying tendency for me is to overthink a thing, particularly when I'm in a time crunch. And I discover that I waste more time thinking about the thing than actually just saying, you know what, do it.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, it blew a couple minds that I was able to fit in as much as I did in the time I had But when I went, just go
Including this
into it.
one.
Like, well, every single day of Tech Week, I actually managed to fit in a half-hour workout, and I managed to get in a morning run, and I managed to, make sure that we got our cast gift together. And like, it's just because I realized the amount of time I would waste sitting going, well, if I start my workout at 11:30, it's 11:20 right now. Like the minute the clock keeps ticking. So, and I guess it's kind of like this does dovetail with giving 100% in a way, in the sense of then go.
Yeah.
Just do. Be aware of when you're overburdened, but but say to yourself, if you're really not overburdened and you're just recognizing where you're not, yeah, I guess, yeah, just say don't overthink. And I universally, every single day, even though I was like, God, I'm tired, God this, God that, I just started my workout, and by the end of it, I felt so much more focused and so much more ready to be on that stage and alert and there. Like, that, like, if I hadn't, I knew when I was sluggish, when I hadn't put in ahead of it. I know it's like, okay, you're about to do a 2-hour show and you just did a half hour of intense cardio kickboxing. All right, crazy person. But it warmed me up and got me in touch in the way that I needed. And had I not, I would have felt a bit, now I'm sounding like an adrenaline junkie, but I know I wouldn't have been as sharp. I know I wouldn't have been as focused in a very weird, paradoxical way.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your next one?
Here's another advice that I got, was just to tell people what you need. And in a production sense, it comes down to like the people that you live with, telling them that you are getting that, a half hour of quiet before you leave for your half-hour call is really, really beneficial, to just be alone. Yep. So that, but then also telling people, like, in the dressing room, I'm not a particularly, we've talked about this before.
Oh yeah.
I can come across as standoffish and rude.
Oh, you're in the zone.
Because I'm just trying so hard to, especially in a shared dressing room situation. Sometimes it's hard for me to get in character. It's hard for me to get, like, maybe I've had a very busy morning, or like there's other stuff going on, and I just need to get in my own head. And sometimes people will be in a good mood around me, and I'll just be like,
yeah. I actually, it's funny that you said that. My brain instantly went back to the big shared communal space we had at the church back in November when we first did 1776, because there was no being alone, but I took one look to the side and I saw you in your zone and I went, she's fine, and I let you be. Yeah.
You did. And even did one picture of you picking my nose. Do you remember this?
Because there's more gold gold might have been the wrong word here, but that's more golden Instagram content for later. I can find it.
I had no idea.
But yeah, just okay. I was just like, but I didn't interrupt you. I just decided to be an ass on the side.
You didn't. But like, I have become much bolder about saying, like, hey, I have RBF. I'm really, I'm in my head right now. Just telling people helps. So then you don't have to pretend, because sometimes I feel obligated to be like, oh yes, rah rah rah, go team, when I'm having a hard time doing that for myself.
And I guess I was a little bit conditioned for it in college too, because I was working with equity performers who had their very specific things. They were not even equity, or just pro around the area. Like one of my mentors, John, particularly. He had a very regimented pre-show routine, and I think the first couple times I worked with him, I took it a little bit personally, like I thought he hated me. It wasn't that. He was in his space. Don't make it. So much is not about you, and maybe that's my next advice too.
Oh yes.
Maybe that's my next piece of advice.
Yeah.
Don't take everything personally in those situations, and not always about you, I guess is the way I'd put it. Like that.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's hard for me, because I do tend to read into things way too much. Like, not just in a theater situation, like in conversations with people. I have had endless exercises this year in letting go and loosening that hold on things, and just being like, are you okay? Then you're okay. Don't worry about the 19 things around you. And that's always a struggle for me, and it's still a work in progress. So
beautiful transition to the next piece of advice that has gotten me through. these two productions back to back. Another performer has told me this. It's never as, speaking of performances, like actual shows with paying audiences.
Right.
It's never as bad as you think, and it's never as good as you think.
I love
so
that
just
so much.
Whatever you're feeling at the end of the performance, get over it.
Yeah.
Just get over it.
Yeah, actually, to a real, I felt like our Saturday matinee was draggy, but my friend Mark had come to see it, and he had no prior exposure to the show at all, and he was like, no, it was really, like, I was really into it. So, or like those audiences where you think they're dead, and quite honestly, it's because I've had, listening audiences. I think we fall into that trap so much of wanting like that audio response. First of all, because we can't really see you. So, spoiler alert, if you're feeling a weird audience member in the third row going, oh my God, I'm so close they can see me, we probably can't. And we shouldn't be looking at you anyway, because no. But yeah, I love that bit of advice. It's never as good, it's never as bad. I dig that.
Yeah.
I dig that a lot. God.
That's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I've got any other tips beyond just, enjoy it and let yourself be in the moment too. You've done all the work, now really live in it, and this is why you're here. This is yeah.
But if you did have a spectacular performance, get over that too.
Accurate. It's done, kid. Move on.
Yeah.
That's the antithesis of my previous segment, but it's over, kid. Get over it. Get over it.
Okay, you ready?
I am weird. I am strange. I am here for you, dear. Whoa. I don't know. Whoa.
Is this season 2?
I think that with that bit of weirdness, we just dropped into season.
I love it.
I am weird. I am here.
I'm weird. I am strange. I'm here for you, dear.
Oh my God. Okay, set that to music and go. No, but what is making us strange this week besides my odd slogan generator?
I don't know. What else do you got?
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay, now I'm like, oh God. Well, I guess what's making me strange this week is all the anxiety I've had built up in my stomach that I'm letting go of tomorrow when I get my wisdom tooth extraction, which could have been way worse than it was. I know it's weird that I'm using this as my segment, but I'm just going to go with it.
Nope.
Because actually I can sort of make this, theater performer centric because I'm such a baby about my mouth. We've talked about this.
It worked.
Yeah, so I'm getting, it could have been worse. It could have been all 4 like my dentist wanted, but gonna get myself some good drugs tomorrow, get rid of a wisdom tooth, and try not to freak out about all of this business here. And I've also actually, one of the things that I know how to make this strange. I've been stocking up on stuff that I know I'll be sitting on the couch watching, and I went back through like my DVD collection. Guess what I watched from end to end today, Juliana, without intending to at all?
No idea.
Andrew Lloyd Webber's 1998 Cats that was recorded for VHS at the time, DVD, and I'm just going to let this cat out of the bag. One of my first musicals that I really fell in love with was Cats.
You are probably not the only one.
Oh no, I know I'm not. I am very aware of how virulently divisive Cats is among theater people. You either find it fun and artistic, or you want to run screaming from the theater. I understand both thoroughly. Having seen Cats live, having gone to see friends in Cats, and had that be particularly odd. But yeah, so I might sit and watch Cats while I'm half drugged. I will probably watch that also Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat that starred Donny Osmond. You know what? I'm owning all of my weirdness, as I started this segment with, and hoping that I get through dental surgery with no problems. That's what's making me strange this week. That was the most non-linear segment I've ever made. Meow.
How can I follow this?
Well, go for it, because this is, I don't even know.
This is what's making me strange. I have a theory. this is actually what's been making me strange for the past 2 weeks, because this theory has just been,
driving you nuts.
sparking right now. But here's my theory.
Mm-hmm.
I have a theory that humanities people versus STEM people, that humanities people prefer and advocate the Oxford comma usage, and STEM people think it's old-fashioned. Where do you stand? And can we still be friends?
Well, also having had this conversation before we started recording and now gamely restaging it now, see, I'm not good with faking this at all.
Why'd you have to go and spoil it for everyone?
Because that's what I do. I'm the spoiler, dear. No, in seriousness, I've always been an advocate for the Oxford comma because I think it adds clarity. And when I think of all the examples of misreadings, funny or sincerely, wait a minute, I didn't understand what that meant, I think the comma is important.
There are so many potential downsides for not using the Oxford comma. I cannot for the life of me understand why people want to phase it out or consider it old-fashioned or unnecessary. It's just one little ooh. How is it making, I don't understand. So I guess the listeners, we can use your feedback here, is like, do you consider yourself a STEM person or a humanities person? Maybe humanities people, since we are so into communicating thoughts and ideas with as much precision and clarity and on the written page as possible. Maybe that's why we're. I don't know any humanities people that are bothered by the Oxford comma, but every STEM person I know, including people in the finance industry, where my day job world has always been, despise Oxford comma use and make it about conservative, old-fashioned writing style. And I've had it.
Ha! And then I offered up my husband Packy as an example, but then you shot that down saying he's kind of a humanity. He's a computer programmer who does theater, so therefore he's got a brain that splits the worlds. But he is very, very pro Oxford comma, very pro grammar, very pro. Although I guess as a programmer, being precise actually goes right in line with that, because if you drop a character here or there, your program don't work.
Yeah, so like someone recently in a conversation really shot me down and gave me a hard time. And I don't mean like in a cute, funny, like, isn't this a fun social moment way, but sincerely.
I'm sweating. Sincerely, wow.
Sincerely put me down. A CEO of a tech company.
Jesus.
For my, yes, I use Oxford comma.
And you said a double space too, right? That was like the ultimate.
I accidentally
you sinned
after a period. I realized we don't have to do that now, and I'm okay with that. It was a typo. I had actually joined two paragraphs together and didn't delete enough spaces, but whatever. I let him have that one because,
it's all good. Well, no, and some things are carryovers from before we had computers, like when it was the typewriter, which actually, okay, rabbit trail. It can't be a Strange Year episode without a rabbit trail. Fun story from Kay's junior high school years. There aren't many fun stories from junior high school for many people, or middle school, whatever your version was. My mother sincerely asked my junior high school principal if I really needed a PC or if I could get by using her typewriter. When I went into 7th grade. Is that sad?
Wait, how do you answer that?
I know, I'm sitting here, like, and my mom, I mean, if I was the administrator, I might wonder if this woman was pranking me. But no, sincerely, my mother was like, it's a good typewriter.
No, it's like, would you rather have your Apple phone or this Snoopy phone that you plug into the wall?
I was going for the one on the wall where you gotta crank it up and put the thing.
No, our upstairs phone, the kids' phone, was a Snoopy phone, and it was in the hallway.
I didn't get a phone in my. Did you have a phone in your room when you were?
No. It was the Snoopy phone, and it had one of those like 20-foot long telephone cords
that you could.
so we could take the phone into our room.
Children today, you will never know the struggle of bending that cord as far as it would go, and then getting it all weirdly snarled and kinked up on itself, and then
No. You just get the one that connects the phone base to the wall. Make that one 20 feet long, and then just a regular and spiral.
Yeah. Yeah, no. My parents, my mother also didn't want to have a newspaper in the house, so there's that. Now we're just way oversharing. But yeah, so
now we're just talking about moms.
now it's just turned into therapy. But I guess what's making us strange this week. This is the most non-linear, but this is
we're so tired, but we wanted to put out an episode.
Literally, what's in our heads? What's making us strange this week? The answer is everything.
Okay, so are we good? Is that it? Are we done?
We need to close.
Right.
We need clothes if we're gonna close.
We need closure.
I don't know if closure is possible with how many very strange places this thing pinged around to. But that's, I guess, why, if we keep the title that I'm working on, it's Strange Postmortem, dear, because there's just been so much stuff to kind of unpack over the past 2 weeks. So I guess that's to the end of this lovely, disjointed, but hopefully amusing to you episode. So as always, please subscribe, follow, and give us feedback on all of those social media channels we mentioned before.
That's right. And I hope you have a great week. Keep being strange, dear.
But not in a way that gets you arrested.